Welcome to another edition of Vigorously with me, Val Kleinhands, where we chat about a number of different subjects. Music is one of them, and that's why singer-songwriter Kayla Thompson is in the building today. Kayla, I'm thrilled to have you. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Val. I am so honored to be here. I was just telling you before we started recording, I haven't done a podcast about like me and my music as an artist in a while.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, we're getting back into it. Like, yeah, I want to talk about it. Like, yeah, I want to share what I got going on. Like, I'm
We
excited.
do.
So,
We do,
yeah,
and we
thank you
need
for
an
having
update
me.
too. Of course, and we
I
need an
know.
update too. We're going to get into all of that. But just for anybody that doesn't know you and that wants to get to know you, how did you get into music to begin with? Was it something you grew up with or found later?
Mm-hmm. Okay, gonna try my best not to be long-winded. So Lord help me. No, so I mean I grew up around music. I grew up in a ministry family, so a lot of my family is in the church world, on stage, either preaching or singing. And so I always grew up in that, but for some reason I just never felt, well, I know what it is. It was fear. I was always afraid to jump into that myself, to be on stage. I had a huge like stage fright.
Mhm.
And so I just was like, I don't really care about like singing like that. Like I could always sing, but I was like, I don't really care. But it was like, no, you're just scared. So finally it was like, okay, I've been running away from this for so long. So when I was 17, I did the talent show at my school, and it was like the reaction I got from doing the school talent show was like everyone thought I was gonna be the next Ariana Grande. They were like,
Woo!
"Oh my god!" Like I went to school the next Monday. People were like, literally, tons of kids coming up to me like, "Can I get your like autograph so I know that?" And I'm not even trying to gas my head up. I was just like, "What the heck?" It was like, okay, clearly there's something here. I need to really. Other people are noticing it. Like I need to really like
Yeah.
after that, I just was like, okay, I'm a really like try and like fight this fear some more. And so it became just like that. Like that's been my journey, is like figuring it out, fighting the fear of it all, getting more confident. And yeah, just slowly when I started songwriting, shortly after that, I started songwriting when I was like 18, 19. That's when I really was like, oh, what's this? Because I'd never really written a song. And I fell in love with songwriting. And my uncle is a writer and musician and a traveling artist.
Oh.
And so I just went under his wing, and he's been kind of guiding me ever since. And so that's kind of where it sparked. And 10 years, goodness, I guess, yeah, 10 years later, I'm 28.
Oh my God.
10 years
That
later,
time
it's,
flies.
oh my
That-
God, it's so crazy.
It really is. Your
But yeah.
uncle anybody we know? I'm just curious.
I don't know. He's a Christian artist.
Oh, okay.
He has
Cool.
like a really, really big hit song. So anyone listening who is, listens to gospel or Christian music will probably know the song My Worship. It's
Mm.
been like I literally cannot go to a church, like any random church in the world, and someone's not singing that song. I swear they cannot put that song down. It's amazing. So he's traveling all over Africa all the time, all through
Oh.
the United States. So he's had some like major success, but yeah, his name is Phil Thompson. I didn't say his name
Oh,
yet,
okay.
but his name is
Yeah.
Phil
Well,
Thompson. Yeah.
so Uncle Phil, is he somebody maybe you would
Uncle
look up to?
Phil.
Uncle Phil. Let's talk about Uncle Phil.
Oh
So
yeah.
he is he somebody that maybe gave you some guidance or helped you along with that stage fright, because you're definitely not the only
Hmm.
artist to face that, and it's a hard thing to get
Yeah.
over.
No, for sure. It's a tough thing to get over, and I think I'm still getting over it, and we'll probably talk about it later on, but yeah, for sure, because I think him and I's personalities are similar. We're just super introverted. I'm probably more cuz I don't know, I'm a young girl, so I'm more like bubbly, and like he's like a, 40 something year old like man. So he's more like chill and all that. But yeah, we're more like to ourselves, and we don't really, I'm not one that like necessarily needs the spotlight and things like that. And so
Mm, mhm.
I think I don't know if he had a fear, but I think he probably fought through like self-doubt or hesitating and things like that, like you were just saying, a lot of us artists and creatives can deal with. So yeah, I think he just always was like, you got it, like you just have it, like you have to use your gift. Like that was the main thing he would always tell me. And And yeah, I mean, also just down to being in a studio for the first time. Like he came and traveled with me to Nashville to record my first
Uh,
song, and like, I've done studio records with him and just gotten so much experience with him just right by my side. And I haven't really thought about that like in a while, but he really was like had my back. And he still
yeah.
does. So he taught me so much. And yeah, and so he's been amazing from, like I said, writing, recording, just my mindset, believing in myself, and then writing. Well, I already said writing. But like the music industry, the like, I
Mhm.
don't know how to put out a song. What's DS what? What's a DSP? I don't know what that stands for. Like, what does that mean? I have to release a song 4 weeks before it comes out. I didn't know that. Those are some crazy stories. And when I earlier days when I was putting songs out.
Yeah.
Um, so he was just helped me through all of that, those bumps in the road. But he's been amazing.
I love that. Shout out Uncle Phil. I
Shout
was
out to
just
Uncle Phil.
watching, shout out to him. I was just watching the video for Matter too earlier, and you did that with Nate Diaz. Obviously, you've
Yes.
collaborated with a few people, but Nate is
Hmm.
definitely one of them. Tell me about
Hmm.
working with him. That had to be fun.
Oh my gosh, yes, so much fun. Nate is like a little brother to me, which was funny because we're doing this song about like a relationship, and a lot of people were like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "No, me and Nate are like brothers." Like it's so funny because yeah, we've just always had that connection like that. We met at a writing camp a few years ago, and we've just stayed like had so much love for each other. And uh the how Matter came about was actually so like not intentional. But I written Matter with a writer friend of mine like a few years ago, and I was putting together the EP with my producer Joel Setien, and we had this one song on there, and we were like, "Ah, I don't know if we like this song like that." We were like running into a wall with this other song. He was like, honestly, I just think we need to like, let's just see if you have some other songs we can work on, not waste our time. I was like, oh, I have this one song called Matter, and I like it. I just don't know what it needs a feature, and I don't know who to feature. Like, I don't know what to do. So I played it for him. He freaked out, and he was like, Kayla, Nate would sound perfect on this. I'm like, oh my God, you're right. So we called Nate. He heard it. He was like, oh yeah, I'm immediately on board. And so ever since then, from that beginning of it, Nate was just so all in on finishing the song, making it perfect, giving his all in like every take and like the video, and just yeah, letting we were in his apartment filming and around his city in Charlotte was where we filmed, like around where he lives. So he was just
Oh,
like, oh, we
okay.
could go here, we could go there and film. He was so invested. And sometimes when you collaborate with other creatives, that's not always like the case. Like sometimes it could feel like,
Hit or miss. So it's
okay,
hit or miss
yeah,
whether you really gel with them or not. And I'm glad you
yeah,
brought up the fact that that was his space, literally and
mm-hmm,
figuratively. Like, because that was going to be one of my questions. Y'all could have
yeah,
fooled me with the video. I would have thought you were like, at least there was some little something
yeah,
something. And because what made it more intimate was that you looked like any sort of couple, and I know you're not, but you looked like you could
yeah,
have been any couple running to get food together, hanging out,
right,
recording together at somebody's apartment. And I was going to
mm-hmm.
ask, like, is that your actual recording space? Because that was gorgeous. But it's
It's
Nate's.
I know. It's Nate's. Yeah, he lives in an amazing, gorgeous apartment in Charlotte. Lord, let me not say where this man lives. I don't know the exact address. I'm not gonna say that.
We're
But
okay. We're
no,
not
he
going to
lives
out
in an
him.
amazing space. And yeah, I think we do have like a synergy. And so I mean, we knew that. Well, while we were filming and like taking the content, we were like, people are gonna think that this is like a hard launch. But that's
No.
not the dynamic. But we do like have a chemistry. It's just not like that. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's also like hard to find with other creatives too. Like sometimes you can do a song and it sound really cool, but then you do the video and maybe like you don't really, mesh as well, or it doesn't like it doesn't communicate the same. Or
Mhm.
yeah, so we were glad that we had that kind of
Yeah.
chemistry and click to like to get that across, because that was the point of the song. So
Yeah.
yeah.
the
Yep.
secret sauce might have been just seeing y'all in your element, period. Like just
Mhm.
what you would do naturally anyway, because we always see the grandiose music videos, and I'm thinking like Ja Rule Ashanti back in like 20 years ago or 25 years ago. Like
Yeah.
they're always in some hot like tropical spot on the jet ski or whatever, and like they're booed up on the back of a jet ski or something, and I'm just
Right.
like, no, come on, like I know that's a
Can
fantasy, like
relate.
that's not every day. Yeah,
Yeah.
the matter video is, oh, that could be me and my husband running to get food and
Mm.
then coming back to our
Yeah.
apartment and recording something together later. That's real.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We wanted it to feel really natural and easy. Honestly, it kind of came out of just like, what's the easiest way we can just make a video? Because one of the things that I was like just so thankful, Nate has is a really, really busy artist. So he has a traveling schedule that's crazy. So the
Mhm.
recording process of that song was like months separated from each other. And so we were like, we were literally finishing recording and filming it like we were actually doing that at the same on the same day because we were like, we cannot try to schedule another date just to film. We have to do it all at the same time. So that naturally was just like, oh, we'll make that the thing. We'll make that you know, the vibe is just very authentic. We are recording. We are literally hungry. So we're going to go get lunch. And
Yeah,
then we're just capturing everything. And then, yeah, there were some moments where like, okay, let's do this. And that'll be a cute, like, take and okay. But yeah,
yeah,
the videographer, Maurice, oh my gosh, he was incredible. I think a lot of it was just like his editing and his filming style is what made it even more beautiful. And he had this fog machine, and it was like, yeah, he's just amazing, 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 amazing. So, yeah, so that was the point. I was like,
yeah.
let's
It's a
just
treat to
lean
watch, and
into it.
it is, and I know "Matter" is your favorite song off the "Shot in the Dark" EP. And I can see why. I get it.
Mm,
I wanted to talk more about the title of the EP too, because I do think that you're the kind of person who believes in taking those chances, regardless of
mhm.
what the outcome might be. Shot in the dark. Take the
Yeah.
chance anyway. Let's go.
Yes.
Like, let's do it. So why is that so important to you? Why is it important to you to take chances?
Oh my gosh. I think taking chances is like a shot in the dark, taking chances. It's those themes are just me trying to encourage myself to keep going, to keep doing it, to keep taking a step of faith because I think no matter where you get in life, there's always something that you're reaching for next in your next level in your next season. And so I think for me, there's always like a fear attached to, can I do this? Can I? What will
Mhm.
happen what if no one listens to it? What if no one's going to listen to all five songs and they only really have only heard one song from me every, year or so? Like, just you're fighting those thoughts. You're like, well, let's just do it and see what happens. Let's just take the shot in the dark. I can't see the end result. Like, I'm not going to know. I just have to release it and just see what comes of it. So
Yeah.
I think that like whether it's and I think for all the songs on the project, like whether it's putting yourself out there and telling someone you like them and you want to, like with too much, it's like just tell me like cuz I like you, do you like me? Like I don't know, or whether it's like, you know, letting your anger out and being like, you know what, before you say goodbye, actually, let me tell you about yourself. You know what I mean? Or it's like, okay, like don't leave. Like let's keep this relationship together. Or it's like
Mhm.
one day I'll be this person I know I can be. It's like just like that faith, I guess, or that
Yeah.
faith or that kind of gumption. I'm trying to find the right word. Um so I think like I've seen it. I think anybody can relate to that in different parts of their life or whatever they do
Yeah.
for career purpose or whatever. It's like, we don't know the future. It's a lot of life is the unknown. And so
Mhm.
it's about just taking that shot in the dark a lot of the time. So that's kind of yeah, what I'll say about that, what it means to me.
Listen, in this economy, we gotta try. It's like we don't know what's next here.
We
So I'm
don't
like,
know what could happen in this
we
world.
we don't
Oh
know what's
boy.
going to happen next. We don't know where there's going to be another war, where we're going to get another job, what kind of job it's going to be, is it going to pay me appropriately? Like,
Girl. Yes. All of those things.
all the questions.
All the questions.
But your music definitely carries us through those moments. It's great. And I was curious,
Thank
as a young
you.
artist, what have you learned? I mean, your first EP is under your belt. Correct me if I'm wrong. A Shot in the Dark is your first EP. So
Yes, it's my
you've
first
got
EP.
that under your belt now. What have you
Yes.
learned since?
Okay. What have I learned since first EP? I mean, I learned that it can be fun. It doesn't have to be stressful. I think the reason why
Mm,
I hadn't done an EP yet is because I made it such a big deal in my own head.
mhm.
And I mean, it is a big deal. It's a way bigger task. It's like way more, of an investment all across the board. It's way more time and energy spent. But it's like it can be fun. Like I just had so much fun making it, and I think that had a lot to do with the people that I made it with. Everyone that I made this project with, I just was a joy and a pleasure, and everyone wanted to do it. And so, I think what I learned is like you got to stay with that. Don't try
Mm,
to cuz I think in the past with singles I put out, it just and I think I brought that energy to it where again it was like this stressful, like I gotta make it perfect and da, da, da. And it's like, yeah, we want to put effort and energy and make it excellent, but you know, it needs to come from a good space. Like it has to come
yeah.
from a place of purity where like there's a joy attached to it and it's not because I think that people can feel that. I don't know, I just feel like that can be in the atmosphere when you release your music that way because
Mhm.
I've seen the difference, at least maybe just I'll just within myself I felt the difference. And then again, like I was saying, working with people who are putting the skin in the game with you too and making the project and not kind of being like, I mean, okay, I guess I'll help this little girl with her little song. Like, no, okay, cool. Like, I love this music. Okay, I want to produce on it. Oh my God, what if we added
Yeah.
this to the drums? Oh, okay, crazy,
Mm,
crazy idea. But what if we tried this? Like, no, I want all of that because that
yeah.
brings that, like, so working with the right people and it just coming from a good space. But I think too, if you have, I think I liked the fact that I did have, and I didn't think I would, but I was just like, man, like, God, what's the theme of this EP? Like, because I kind of felt like I put these random songs together a little bit that I just liked the most.
Yeah.
And the through line was like, oh, yeah. And all these songs, I'm kind of putting like, everyone's, all of them we're putting ourselves out there. This is shot in the dark. And then I have that line in
Got
one
it.
day that's like, trusting these shots in the dark. And I was like, oh,
Mm.
that's it. So I was like, okay, cool. I think having, especially for an EP, I don't know. I don't know. You could say
I ask that question all the time. Like,
albums. Yeah, go
right.
ahead.
No, I know what you're getting at because like we're obsessed with
Yeah,
Cowboy Carter, we're obsessed with Torture
right,
Poets Department. We love a full album moment. We do. But I
right.
mean, I'm of the age where I can still remember when like albums were a huge deal when you went to the store and like physically bought them and it was
Yeah,
an event.
yeah.
Today, if I feel like that only happens with specific artists and most of the time and
Mm-hmm.
you can tell me if this is true for your fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we don't care if we're getting a single or an EP or what. We're just glad to be getting something and we'll stream it anyway.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
almost like the concept is sort of lost
Mm-hmm.
anymore, or at least it's not
Mm-hmm.
prioritized. Do you think that your fan base cares one way or another? Whether you're putting out a single or a full blown
That's
concept
a good
project?
point. That's a good point. I think like yeah, because I was gonna say I guess that's just all of what you said. It can just differ, like, and I think for me, from my point of view, I feel like I'm still building my fan base. So I'm kind of like, hey, we're all just kind of doing this thing together. Whoever's been here since my first single, hold on to my hand, great. Like
Mm.
you've seen my evolution, but I think so for me, I think they're kind of cool with getting new music from me regardless, whether it is a
Yeah,
single versus oh, fire. She put out of course for my first EP, it was like, "Oh my gosh, Kayla's finally putting out a whole like collection of songs." great, and most of them are new. Okay, I'm so excited. But I think that like, so I think at first what I was gonna say about my EP is like thematically, I was like, I guess it doesn't really need one, but I don't want it to feel super random, because I do think that
Hmm.
there is a place for EPs to just be like a taste test of like
Yeah.
what you can do as an artist. And I still feel like my EP is that, like, sonically. I think there's definitely, okay, it all feels like it's one thing, but they don't sound, I don't think that any songs sound exactly the same. I hope not, because I don't really love that. um
Yeah.
but yeah, I would say that for me, like, I think that that's a thought too. It's like, and I think, let me back up. What you just said about Taylor Swift and Beyonce versus like the regular artists, I guess, not to compare that way, but yeah,
I know what you mean.
it can feel kind of like, well, are people going to care about all these other songs, or are they just going to kind of like, there's probably going to be maybe one or two songs that people really love and pay attention to, and no one else, because I'm not there yet where everyone is just going to listen to me regardless, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's like hard to say that, because it's like, well, everyone has their own fans that will listen to the entire project and do. So I think that at the end of the day, maybe it's just like a matter of the artist, like what you care about, because it's your art. So you should do it, you should make it for you, and with these people in mind, like, okay, I'm gonna share this, that's the end goal, is to share it. But if I want it to all be have a theme, then that's what it should be. I shouldn't do, anything different for anybody else, because whoever's gonna it's gonna land in their hands, it'll land where it's supposed to, it'll get to
Yeah.
the people it's supposed to get to. Does that make sense?
It does, and I think they'll tell
Yeah,
you what they want. I mean,
true.
Beyonce fans, Taylor fans, listen, we love both of our girls, and we do make it a full event when a full album is out. But are we mad when we get the random singles? No, we
Right.
love that too. So
Yep.
I mean, it just depends. And there are some, like, I mean, I'm definitely into hard rock and heavy metal too. And typically in that genre, we prefer albums. But if it doesn't happen, same sort of thing. We're good with the single too. It just,
Right.
let the fan base tell you what it is
Yeah.
they want, because they will. And I
Yeah.
loved watching Taylor Swift vibe at Coachella, watching Ice Spice. I saw those clips
I
and I was
know. I was like, it's cool to see her just in her, like, she's just living her life
just be a
era,
human. Yeah,
just being a human with her man.
just be a human. And Olivia Rodrigo on stage with no doubt. Favorite.
Very cool.
Favorites. I was
Yeah,
like,
very, very cool. I'm so proud of her. She's really just
yes.
skyrocketed since she like put out a song.
Period.
It's like
Driver's license, and it was up from there. That
driver's
was it.
license, and she was like the princess from there. So very,
Yeah.
very cool.
But she's got the talent to back it up. I mean, they all really do too.
1000%.
Absolutely. So I was doing a little digging too, and I found that you're a podcaster too, at least some of the time, or when you can be. All the right reasons. I love the title. We're recapping our favorite shows. I was like,
Yes.
this is great, and it does sound a lot like Vigorously. So I love that. What's
Yes.
is anything exciting coming from the podcast? Do you get much time to even interact on that anymore with your busy schedule?
Yeah, I know. Well, listen, me and my aunt, we run that podcast together,
Yeah.
podcast slash YouTube channel. It's like both. And we definitely have a cute little community of girls who are like super, like, they are like with us. So right now we're on like a hiatus, because the shows that we usually would recap, there's nothing on right now. And
Yeah,
both
I
of
got
me
it.
and my aunt are like super busy, but we kind of stay like, we stay on a schedule of like whatever show that our audience watches, and we usually recap. If that show is coming out, cool,
Hmm.
we'll be back on. But if they're on hiatus, we're on hiatus. So I think her and I, actually, we need to have a conversation, because usually we recap Bridgerton, and
Oh,
that
it's
season's
coming.
coming out soon, and it's a
Yes.
very anticipated season. So I'm sure we'll be trying to squeeze in our recordings soon. But yeah, that honestly has just like been like just a fun project for her and I to do. We talk about these
Cute.
shows anyway. Me and my aunt are like crazy close. And
So
so
you're calling each other like, did
we're
you see
calling
Chelsea?
each other, we're
Yeah.
literally, we are calling each other to talk for an hour and a half. about who Joey
Mhm.
from The Bachelor is gonna pick anyway. So we might as well record it and put it online and like see what
Yeah,
happens. And so we've been doing that for the past few years and built like a cool little community. And it's been just a fun, like little side, I don't know, like
I
hobby, I
love that.
guess.
No,
So
it's
yeah,
so cool. I
yeah.
love that.
That's
It's
so funny that you watched that
I did well
or
because
you
I'm
saw that I
interested.
have that.
I'm
Yeah.
interested in the same things. Like I wish I
Okay.
could do that with my aunt and just Auntie, did you see Chelsea compare herself to Megan Fox this season on Love Is Blind?
Girl,
Uh-uh.
because
Listen, the audacity. Like at first I was like the audacity. And then when you rewatch it, and it's like, wait a minute, she said other people compare herself to
but
Megan
why is she
Fox.
bringing it up though, Val? She's
Because
bringing
that's
it up.
it defeats the purpose of the experiment. Exactly.
Exactly. Exactly. So I
Yes.
don't want to hear it. Well, I didn't say I think I look like her. They think, well, we weren't. Why'd you bring it up in the first place?
Like Jimmy
She
didn't
is
need to know.
interesting.
Jimmy
He
didn't
did
need to
not need to
know
know.
that he could have completely picked Jessica. Would we have listen? He that could have gone a completely different way.
Really, really could have. But
If he didn't know that little bit of information, maybe he would have picked her and we would have had a different outcome. Maybe they would have made it to the altar. We don't know. We can
oh,
only speculate.
I totally agree with that.
Musically, what is next for you and what can we look forward to coming from you?
Oh gosh, Val. Honestly, I don't have anything set in stone or set in into place for music for me next. I really have been like on a I've been writing a lot. I've been, writing a lot for other people as well since I moved to Nashville, but I've definitely had
Oh, okay.
sessions with my producer. We've recorded some cool demos and kind of trying to find like what's the next like project going to be. But honestly, I felt within myself that I'm in a space of like kind of like I was referencing earlier where I'm facing another level of I need to be a little bit more vulnerable than I have been in the
Mm,
past. And I think there's for me, a space where I've played it safe a bit in my own music and my songwriting. And so I'm on a journey of like just getting more vulnerable and being more open and kind of digging deeper. So I've just been writing and I want to try to share that more on my Instagram. So if anything, if people just follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, you'll see kind of what I've been working on, building towards my next project and building towards kind of my next level as an artist and a creative. Um, but I will say something that I would love to do. And it's funny because I didn't even think about I was recording this podcast today to talk about the EP, but it came to my mind this morning. I was like, how can we do this? But I would love to do an acoustic version of my EP.
oh,
Um,
fun.
yeah, I think that'd be so fun and it'd be like a
Mhm.
way to kind of refresh those songs and live in them again. But I've been listening to Amelia Moore's acoustic EP. I don't know if you know her as she's an amazing artist. Um, and I'm just like, man, she just inspired me. Like she did it in this like really cool pop way and still had like the live aspect. So I'm like, maybe that's just something I can try to do. I don't know when though, but
Yeah,
I'd love to do it this year for sure.
yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'll say what's going on with me. It's of like a bit of not much, but like a bit of a lot at the same
It's
time.
cooking. It's cooking. We're in the
Yes,
preparation stage, is where
we're
we
in the
are. And
preparation stage.
follow the
Yes,
socials
we
to
are.
get the official updates, but it's in the works. We love that
It's in
too.
the works. Yeah,
We do.
for sure.
Kayla, I had so much fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and sharing a little bit about your world. I can't wait for what's next. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Val, for having me. I enjoyed every minute of it. I'm like, oh, we're done already.
I know.
I had so much fun.
Oh, we'll definitely
Yeah,
do it again. When you got new
I would
things
love it.
out and you're excited for new things, we'll definitely do it again for sure.
Sounds perfect.